Nintendo, being as old as they are, have plenty of longtime franchises that over the decades have remained completely timeless. Mario, Zelda, Metroid, and many others have lived through the ages with nothing but love and attention from both the fans and the big N themselves.
Golly!
Nothing but love! And on a completely unrelated note, Punchout! Yeah, for as beloved as Nintendo's take on the sweet science is, it's not exactly on their priority list. The last game in the series releasing over a decade ago, and the Little Mac Smash reveal over and done with, the hope for a new Punch-Out soon doesn't seem very likely. And that really sucks, because the Wii reimagining showed us just how awesome a modern Punch-Out could be. It also demonstrated how the ethnically stereotypical characters the series was known for could be used to paint their respective cultures in a positive light. Something that challenges the argument that the modern world is just too squishy for a Punch-Out game. What we're left with is a small but respected series starting with 2 arcade cabinets being redone into an NES game with Iron Mike leading their success, and the style of that game would later be used in the 2009 reimagining. But for those who just couldn't get enough pain, a sequel followed on the Super Nintendo, just as long as those people didn't mind something totally different. Super Punch-Out, released in 1994, is known as the black sheep of the series, and is often considered to be a bad game, or at least a bad Punch-Out game, with exactly one person in defense of it.
I'm here, bitch!
And after playing through it for this video, I can safely say, I like it. I think it's an excellent game that deserves to stand alongside its other 2 home console counterparts. So throughout this dive into wacky Bloodsport, I want to really compare this to MTPO and keep in mind the reasons people dislike this game. Before we throw fists, I want to give a huge thanks to my buddy Chuck, who, along with watching and supporting me from the corner, took some shockingly helpful notes. I'll have a link to his channel in the description. He's a funny dude. Now, was there something else? Oh yeah, keep it clean. The first thing you're going to notice about this game is just how different it is from its predecessor. Visually, audibly, mechanically, it doesn't even feel like a Punch-Out game. On the surface. See, most people playing this are doing so because of the NES game. And what you have to remember is that MTPO and all that it was, the whack-a-mole crowd, the strange memory game fights, the toothpick you play as, all of this was solely due to hardware limitations. And with the SNES, Nintendo was looking to create a proper home console version of the original arcade game. So in a sense, Super Punch-Out is a sequel to this, not this. Now, I will say that this game is very different, and while I have a few infractions in regards to those changes, one of my absolute favorite overhauls is the gameplay. Like the other games in the series, you will fight through 3 circuits, minor, major, and world, each with 4 opponents to swap bodily fluids with. Unique to Super Punch-Out is a 4th special circuit that can only be unlocked after clearing each of the previous rings with a perfect record. One thing I really like about this game over its predecessor is that the fights overall are treated less like puzzles or a game of Simon and more like an actual boxing match. Instead of your opponents being these towering behemoths with defense so good that they can't be punched unless countered, you're on an even playing field. You're fighting mortal men this time, and there's a ton of ways you can gain the upper hand. You can pay attention to their guard to know when you can get some free shots to the face. You can intercept their punches with one of your own to stop an attack, or maybe even dizzy them for a free knockdown. Different fighters also take more damage to either the face or the gut, so paying attention to the damage you deal and knowing where they're more vulnerable is a huge help over the course of the fight. This game ditches the star punch in favor of the super meter from the arcade game. Landing shots will fill up the meter, and when it's full you can perform uppercuts, hooks, and rapid punches. Getting hit at all will take out a huge chunk of the meter, but at the same time, if you keep it full, you can throw as many heavy punches as you want. I love this mechanic. For one, the fact that the meter is constantly growing and diminishing makes it both satisfactory to land every punch and makes getting hit all the more crushing. And the fact that your reward for avoiding damage is an infinite cache of super powerful moves is very empowering. It also helps that throwing super punches is, hugely satisfying. And what's more satisfying than flooring schmucks with a side smash right to their glistening abs? The benefits of doing so, of course. See, in other Punch-Out games, if you knock someone out with a star punch, it didn't usually do anything special. Great job, kid, now go outside, get the stink off you. But if you knock someone out with a super punch, they're gonna feel it. My God, will they feel it. It will keep them down for longer, which means more time for you to recover HP, as well as a higher chance of them staying down for the whole 10 count. Which, by the way, with few exceptions, can be done to any opponent in this game simply by knocking them down fast enough. Oh my God, I love that mechanic! But much more importantly, it'll cripple their refill upon getting up. Knocking someone out will always be satisfying, but sending them to the ass end of the ring knowing that they're gonna get up right for the ass beating once more is an indescribable amount of dopamine. Just go outside and find someone, then proceed to beat them until they're unconscious, and then once they get up, try to do it even faster, and that's probably what it feels like. But I'm worried I've been misleading you a little bit. From how I've been talking, this game must sound easy compared to the nightmare that was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Well... Yeah, unbeknownst to me before playing this, your opponents actually punch back, among other things. So I think it's time we talk about the views, the tunes, and the goons, because boxing requires more than a pair of gloves and an aspiration for minor brain damage. You need a ring, rock and roll, and of course, someone to give said brain damage. So assume the position and let's get going. So like I said, the game consists of 4 circuits, minor, major, and world, with a special circuit only being unlocked after a perfect run has been completed on the previous 3. Each circuit consists of 4 fights, and almost all of them are either brand new or taken from the arcade game. Yeah, not a lot of familiar faces this time around. Hell, not even Doc Lewis is in this game. And while I respect the aspiration to expand the variety of racism in the ring, the removal of most of the iconic characters we know and love is taking it a little too far, and I wish they attempted to give this game a tad more of the charm of its predecessor. As for the new characters, they're alright. Most of them are definitely interesting, and while they never do a lot of talking, especially considering round intermissions have been completely cut from this game, a lot of them can still be very expressive simply through gameplay. However, others just don't feel like being lovable. Overall, I'd say the game's characters aren't as bad as everyone says they are. They aren't as good as Wii Punch-Out, but they're still leagues ahead of the lots you'll get in other boxing games. If I had one serious gripe in this department, it's definitely Little Mac himself. His hair is blonde instead of black, it's styled completely differently, his attire is completely changed from MTPO. This guy's not Little Mac, is he? The game doesn't address him as such anywhere, so I guess not? They should have just brought back Little Mac instead of going through the trouble to give us this guy who not only has muscles that flab, but also an ass crack on his back, like he was cut open by aliens or something. Okay, we all know that presentation's the most important thing, but can these guys actually box? Yes, as well as kick, headbutt, elbow, juggle, violently beat you with a stick. Where is the fucking ref? This guy's like 200! Hey, dude! Okay. Fuck! I gushed about the huge amount of tech in this game, and it is true that if you're good enough, you can clean house very easily. But for all of us normies out there, you're in for a rough one. Super Punch-Out retains the high difficulty the series is known for, and even fights as early as the minor circuit can be tricky if you don't take care. A lot of them still hit like cinder blocks, and it's almost comical how much cheating goes on within the ring. If I had to pick a favorite fighter, it's definitely Mad Clown. He hits hard, is deceptively fast, and has some crazy moves like a fake-out uppercut and weaponized juggling balls. If I had to pick a least favorite, I got 2 for you. The first is Hoy, the second opponent in the special circuit, and the very model of a boxer. He's this game's equivalent to Mike Tyson's Sandman in that he's a massive difficulty spike. Aside from the fact that he doesn't throw a single legal move the entire fight and staff, he's just crazy difficult. Having this weird defense which forces you to alternate punches when he's stunned, super high damage for someone who by all accounts could be wearing a lifeline under that thing, and worst of all, not only the ability to randomly dodge punches, but also follow up with some of the most punishing counters in the whole game. Also, you can't TKO him. Okay, this guy's a reptilioid, case closed. My other least favorite... oh, fuck. My other least favorite is the guy that comes right after him. See, the final fight in this game is fine. Nick Bruiser is tough enough, having crazy high damage, the same weird defense as Hoy, and some crazier stuff like the ability to incapacitate your arms, and an instant KO haymaker. And while the idea of a fighter being from parts unknown is always a stupid one, I can at least appreciate that they attempted to make his nationality kind of ambiguous in his design. Even if it is dumb, I mean, the guy looks like a baby with literal tumors for eyebrows. Okay, he's fine. My problem is the fight that comes right before him. Rick Bruiser is Nicky's little brother, and not only do they look exactly the same, the brain damage ain't coming out much different either. I understand why older games like this use palette swaps, but not only do they not make any effort to distinguish them, they also made sure their fighting styles were as similar as possible. Naturally, this makes the final boss a lot less impactful, and it was a baffling choice in my opinion. The last thing I guess we should talk about is the audio and music. As I stated, the sound effects just kick ass. They're impactful, satisfying, and a treat to the swelling red ears. But everyone knows that Punch-Out has a badass main theme. It's such an iconic tune, and if there's one thing that would have tied this game to its predecessor, it's that classic, simple melody. What we got here was some generic SNES rock, which isn't bad, but it just strives to isolate this game even more from its predecessor. Pretty big missed opportunity if you ask me, considering Punch-Out's main theme would have fit perfect for this style of music. All in all, I really don't know what everyone's fucking problem is. Yeah, it's not the most memorable game in the series, but it's got a lot going for it, and it easily rivals its NES counterpart, I'll say that. I mentioned in the beginning that the future doesn't look bright for Punch-Out, which is true, but there's a glimmer of hope. Next Level Games, the people responsible for the masterclass Wii Punch-Out reimagining, just got purchased by Nintendo. So maybe with the extra resources, the chances for a next-gen Punch-Out game are looking maybe just a smidge brighter. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. I hope I can make you laugh and think, and I'm going to fight the real Mike Tyson. Wish me luck.
Doing your mouth. Doing your mouth. Doing your mouth. Doing your mouth.